I will share this once more. If you want to check out the agenda for tonight, you can find it at this link. And welcome everyone to the May 23rd meeting of the Monroe County chapter of NOW, which stands for National Organization for Women. A lot of people say of women, but it's not of women because we have male members. It is just focuses on women's issues. I'm Tammy Jacquart, and I'm the current president. Want to welcome you all here. This is one of my babies for my term. We kind of operate on the who has an idea is in charge of pushing that idea forward. So this was one of my ideas. And I am so very grateful to all the artists and all the organizations who came tonight to talk with us about what they do, why they do it, and what we can do to help them spread their messages and support the causes that they do. We're going to start the meeting with a little bit of business, just kind of give you an idea of what it is that we do. I have a couple things to report. The first of which is we could really use more people on our board. So this is my email for my position here and now. And we have several positions that are currently open. Plus we have positions that have not been like taken for years. So if you look on our website and you see that, hey, they do these sorts of things, these are their core values, I'm interested in that, I have ideas about that, contact me and we will talk to you, because the more people we have involved, the more we can do. And I'll just be blunt with you, the easier it is on all of us. As many of you know, you're in organizations, right? Where the more people you have helping, the better things go. Also, there is a reminder I wanted to share with you. If you go down to City Hall, and I saw this Saturday when I went down there, there is an installation from the Fair Housing Center of Central Indiana. And this was a group that was part of our meeting in April. And so they have a whole bunch of posters and data there about fair housing issues in Indiana, a lot of which at the meeting I was shocked by. The lack of protections, what the law actually says, and how people who particularly rent, what your rights are and what you can do and where you can get help if you need help. So please check that out if you have the ability to go there. I believe it's going to be there until June. And then my final thing to report is everyone here familiar with all options?
Yes.
All right, great. We have a team set up for their funathon, and this is where you can access that if you would like to donate. We're kind of in a loose competition with some other groups on there, so if you feel like donating, please do and help that out. And I will turn things over now to our Vice President, Natalia. Do you have anything to report, Natalia?
Yeah, it's been we kind of took off, after the primary and kind of gave us a couple weeks to like recharge. For any folks who are new, we have received GOTV grants from Now Foundation, totaling about $10,000 to use in Monroe County to get out the vote. We got that money a little bit before, or we got news of getting that money a little bit before the primary. So we went ahead and activate, yes, GOTV is abbreviation for Get Out the Vote. We went ahead and activated our free Ubers, the polls. We are very proud of this because as far as I can tell, we're one of the only counties in the US to consistently offer free rides to anyone who needs it, to early voting or voting day of, since 2022, since we received this money. So since we got word of it, we just activated it early for the primary if anyone needed it. We did have people that used it, and then we will definitely promote it in the fall. If anyone has any ideas, though, we've received money to just be in spaces that we're not typically in, to encourage voter registration, and those folks who are registered but don't vote to vote, not in a very nonpartisan way. The other grant that we received, very lucky to receive, about a $7,200 grant from the city for violence prevention awareness. And our two main focuses are parking garages, and transportation at night. So we've been working with Bloomington Transit. We wrote them a letter of support. They're trying to expand, and they are up for like a couple $1 million grant award. I think like 50 million, maybe. I don't something substantial. And we were happy to support them in that, and just get out the word for our late night rides. So if you are typically taking transit and your line has been cut, they offer Uber or Lyft rides to offset those needs at the same fare that you would pay if you're taking the bus, which is great, so that no one is left without transportation. So we are working on those two projects underneath the VP, have a great team of interns. And if anyone has any ideas to, contribute or to kind of expand or partnerships, always super excited to collaborate. And I'll put my email in the chat. Thanks.
Thank you, Natalia. Mandy, is there anything you want to report as treasurer?
I am very happy that we did actually receive the funds for GOTV, so we are ready to go on spending that down. And then just a couple of announcements. The Indiana Now State Conference will be held on Saturday, August 24th. So mark your calendars. It is going to be in Fort Wayne this year, so a little bit of a drive, but I'm going up on that Friday. So if anyone wants to carpool, we can always do that. And they will hold an Indiana Now Pack event on the Friday evening before. The only other thing that we have on the schedule that I've been working on is Spencer Pride will be held on October 5th, also a Saturday. We will be tabling there. So at some point I will create a Sign Up Genius. So we would love to have any volunteers to help us table at the event, because we always have lots of great swag to give away. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you so much. Heather, you have anything to report as the secretary?
I don't really have anything to report. I'm taking minutes right now, and about the Pride events, I'll definitely sign up to table. I tabled at Bloomington Pride and Spencer Pride last year, and it was a lot of fun. I registered a few people to vote, so I'd definitely like to do that again.
Awesome,
Mhm.
great. Julie, you have anything to report as our membership?
I can just give you all the information that I generally give at the chapter meetings. So if you are a current member, we do send out reminders for membership renewal, so you can watch for that in your email. Membership is available on a sliding scale from $10 to $40 per year, whatever works for you, no questions asked. If you want to sign up for a new membership, we have a membership form that will take you through all of the steps, putting it there in the chat. And if you are a new member, you are eligible for a complimentary Monroe County Now t-shirt while our supplies last. So Mandy Yates, our treasurer, has our current supply, and we will hook you up as best we can. And you can contact me or Mandy to ask about that. And you can always email me. I'll put my email in the chat here as well if you have any questions regarding membership. And as of April 15th, our chapter membership stands at 51 people. So not too bad. And I also will be tabling at Spencer Pride in October. So I'm really looking forward to that. That is always fun.
All right, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Just one last bit of information, two bits of information before we start hearing from our wonderful artists. And that is our future meetings. September 26th, we are going to have a Q&A session with 4 local news agencies. We're going to be talking about the development of news deserts and what criteria these agencies, these different publications, radio stations, TV shows use when they decide what stories to cover and what language to use when they cover it. We've heard from 4 who will come. 1 has sent a statement, but just kind of give you a heads up, I did reach out to 19 places. So these are the brave few willing to answer our questions. And also we have some other exciting ideas in the work, but they're not yet at the stage where we can announce specifics about them. So let's move on to tonight's event. As many of you know, the Grand Falloon is currently going on in Bloomington. It runs from May 20th to June 9th this year, and it is based on Kirk Vonnegut, who you may have heard of, a very famous Indiana author, his idea of a celebration of the arts. So I am really happy that you've come here tonight. I'm very thrilled that our artists have come here tonight because I know you could be out there doing stuff, you know, for this all week long. So thank you for coming here tonight. I'm going to introduce people one at a time. I have some links to share with you all, and I'll put those in the comments, and then Mandy will turn things. Have you decided how you're setting things up with people?
Well, I think I just received photos from Deborah, so
That's it.
I hope that's it. Otherwise, send me an email super quick.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to start.
Actually, sorry, I can share or I can make you the host to share anything that you have. Sorry.
Yes. So we are going to start with the Bloomington Arts Commission and Holly Warren. So welcome, Holly, to our meeting. We would love to hear more about what you do and how that promotes justice in our community as well as the arts.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, you all. It's such an honor to be here and to hear about your great work. Thanks for shouting out Grand Falloon. There is so much to do, but there's always so much to do in the arts. It makes my job fun and overwhelming. I'm going to try to, if you could give me the ability to share my screen. I've got a little presentation I can do. Oh, okay. Looks like I got access. Okay. Can you all see my screen okay? Can you see the big slide that has my name and all the fun stuff on it? Okay, awesome. Great. Okay, so again, my name is Holly Warren. I'm the Assistant Director for the Arts for the City of Bloomington. And really, it is my job to get artists the resources that they need to make the work that inspires and unites us. So that's one part of my job. The other part of my job then is to make sure that that art is being seen and experienced by as many folks as humanly possible. So I've been thinking a lot about my role just in light of everything that is happening both locally and globally right now. We've got a genocide. We've got peaceful protesters on a campus having snipers pointing rifles at them. We live in a state where body autonomy is something that we kind of have to be really wary of and be thinking about. And of course, there's houselessness. There's just a lot of things going on. And I feel like, in moments like this, I'm like, okay, Holly, why this work? Why are you committing your time? And why are you asking council to commit tax funders money to the arts? And the answer I always come back to is that I truly, truly believe that arts is transformative. Arts educate us about forgotten histories. They teach us to see things in the world that we're not necessarily seeing right in front of our faces. They reshape how we experience the world and how we see it. They unite us as a community. And I think across time, artists have always been on the cutting edge of social issues. They give us visual and other types of work that help us process the most pressing issues of our time. They help us talk about it together, address it as a community, and move forward. So I just think this is so important, and this is why I do the work I do. It has taken me 15 years to get to where I can say that confidently and just have that spiel to give you. So it didn't start out like that. This is me when I was 16. This is the first time I really had a visual arts experience. My family took a trip up the East Coast and we stopped in DC, and my mom dragged us all to the Hirshhorn Museum, which is the Smithsonian's visual, like contemporary visual art museum. And being in the museum, I had no idea what I was looking at. I didn't know what it meant. I just knew it was weird and cool, and there was something important about it. And I just wanted to understand what that is. And simultaneous to that, we're there with my lovely dad, also pictured here, great guy, but he's walking around the museum like, what the heck is all this stuff? I could do that. This doesn't make any sense. And I just got it in my head. I want it to be my goal to get my dad to understand what this all means. And I really think that's when the seed was planted, where I was like, okay, art is the way. I don't know what it's going to be, but I'm going to do something in this field. So flash forward many, many, many years later, in my early 30s, I went to the School of the Art Institute of Chicago and got an MFA degree in creative writing. And that was an awesome experience. And basically it led me to be able to publish works of literature, but I also really got into doing like creative writing and like art review writing for local magazines in the city about performance art. And again, I think performance art is just such a great medium where we can explore forgotten histories and just bring big public groups of public folks in to understand that history. So what you're looking at now is a piece I wrote about. It's called Float. It's by a Chicago-based artist named Jefferson Pender. And Float is a reaction to the 1919 race riots that took place in Chicago. So on the 100th anniversary of the race riots, he invited the public to come out to the site where the race riot started, which was the 31st Street Beach. And basically what happened back in 1919 was this beach was segregated. And there were a group of white folks standing on the beach, and there were some kids in the water. They were Black, so they were on the Black side of this beach. They were on floaties, and one of them floated into the white section of this beach. And the white folks on the beach got really mad about this, and they started throwing rocks at this kid. One of them hit this kid in the head and knocked him out. He fell off his floaty and he drowned. And then there was a week of riots that came after that. And so in 2019, on the 100th anniversary of this, the city of Chicago really showed up to commemorate that and say, hey, this is what we learned. And Jefferson Pender did this great event where he invited the public to come to the beach. He gave anyone who wanted it one of these tubes, and then he had folks in groups of 10 hold hands, and he was in a rowboat, and he pulled them into the water, and then he pulled them across that historic segregation line. So this was an acknowledgement of history, but also in some ways also a reparation of here is how we have progressed. Here is how we are going to do better as a community. So this is just one of the pieces of art that continues to floor me, and I reference frequently when I talk about the power of art to help us talk about really important social issues, learn from them, and hopefully move forward. So again, writing about things like this was a thing that I've done in the past when I lived in Chicago. Taking this job on means I can no longer write. I just focus on my work here. But anyway, so one thing I did before moving down here to Bloomington is I also worked with an artist collective. This was a group of us who got together in grad school, and we just started a monthly salon where our colleagues could come and just workshop new pieces without the fear of being in a really harsh critique. That happens a lot in art school classrooms. So we really enjoyed that, and everybody we worked with loved the opportunity to do that. And we all got brave enough that we wanted to do this publicly. So we started getting commissions to do this work out in the community. And so basically what we ended up doing a lot of the time was we would do calls for artists to get folks to do site-specific performances around the city. So again, we were inviting folks to take a spot in the city that had historical significance and do some kind of artistic reinterpretation of it. Again, just to educate folks about the history of the site and help them think about, you know, how can I take this history that was not very well known in the past and be a better person in the world because of it. So super awesome to be able to do that work. Another thing I did, this was right before I moved down here in Bloomington, I worked at the University of Chicago's Logan Center, which is basically their cultural center. So this is a 10-floor building that has visual arts studios, music practice rooms, theaters, and just a big performance venue. And they catered a lot to students. But what they also did was they gave significantly discounted rates for historically Black and like performance groups and musicians to come in and use the space to workshop pieces. And again, this was a huge deal, especially when you think about the history of the University of Chicago. They were awful. They've participated in redlining over the years. And I feel like, you know, the University of Chicago in my mind can always do better. But this was a way that I feel like they could begin repairing that past and bringing folks into the community to build their arts. So that was awesome. So that's what I did up until September 21. And then I came here for this job. And again, the job here is really just making sure resources get into artists' hands. And one of the main ways we do that here is through giving out grants. So every year we give out between $100,000 and $150,000 worth of grants. And this is great. This goes to individual artists. It goes to emerging artists. It goes to folks who want to pull off an event that is very public facing. We also give grants to arts organizations and 501c3s simply so they can pay the bills. We know COVID is not what it was 2 years ago when we couldn't all be together in person. Performance venues are still struggling. They will never be the same. So we feel it's really important to give these funds out. And again, when we think about who we give money to, we're really thinking about, okay, who's doing work in the community that is really working to make arts transformative and is really making our community members learn something new, have an amazing experience. So some of the examples of groups that we fund are Cicada Cinema. So Cicada Cinema really focuses on, they'll do some really like high culture award-winning film screenings, but then they'll turn around and they'll do something like a cult classic that's super campy. They do things that you're not going to see in your multiplex. We've also funded the Bloomington Early Music Festival, which is actually going on right now. If you're into early music, you can go see their concerts tonight, tomorrow night, and Saturday night, all for free. But what they really focus on is not like when you probably think about early music, you think like white dudes, European. Early music, this festival really works to say, hey, there are so many other traditions that nobody talks about. So last year they focused on early music from the Middle East, and this year they're focusing on musicians that come from places of exile. And this means they're working with groups in Bloomington like Exodus to have folks that Exodus has brought over perform. So this is super duper exciting. And then we also have given money to WFHB to help fund their Block Rocker. And this again is just a free event for the community to gather. And one of my favorite moments of this event last August was there's this great band in town. It's called Brenda's Friend, and it's made up of Aaron Toby, who's a local muralist, and Amy O, who also runs Girls Rock Bloomington. So Girls Rock Bloomington is really for young girls and like women that are like don't identify as cis men to come and learn how to play an instrument and form a community. And so when this band started playing, all these young girls ran to the front of the stage and just watched Amy O perform with such awe. And it was just this beautiful moment to see like just generations transferring down this amazing way of creative expression. So that was super cool. So grants is one thing I focus a lot on in this position. And I couldn't do it without the help of the entire Bloomington Arts Commission, which is a group of volunteers who helped me make the right choices about who to give the funds to. Another thing I do in tandem with the Bloomington Arts Commission is public art commissions. So again, this is the idea of we're not just giving artists the resources they need to make their work, we're making sure that their impactful work is being seen by the community. So we did this piece called Hoosier Line North Star. This was installed back in 2021. And this is meant to evoke the history of the Underground Railroad in Bloomington. So as you probably know, the North Star was used kind of as a guiding light for folks to move north. And so we wanted to commemorate this by working with an artist to do this installation. I think this is incredibly moving. And then when we talk about seeing what's not seen, we worked with muralist Aaron Toby, who was also in Brenda's Friend, to do a mural based on just what it means that the world is made up of tiny particles that we cannot see, but they all come together and manifest as the world that we see around us. So this is a mural that was newly installed behind Wonder Lab, and we're actually partnering now with Wonder Lab because it was so successful and the kids just loved it so much. We're going to extend the mural. It's very, very exciting. I also want to pause and shout out, we've got like 2 grant recipients here tonight. Poer is a recipient of our Emerging Artists Grant, and Women Writing for a Change. You've gotten one of our grants. I just don't remember which one it is, but we're so happy and honored to have them in our community. So again, these are things we're really focusing on now. The last thing I want to talk about is like the need we're finding right now that artists need most is they just need space to make their stuff. I don't want anybody to have to make their art on their kitchen table anymore. And I want artists to be able, again, to get their work out to the largest group possible. So we're forming some deals around town right now just to get more space. And one of the most successful things we've done in the past is we've used the 4th Street garage space that's currently unoccupied, owned by the city. So we partnered with this group up in Indianapolis called One Drop to curate an exhibition that focused on art by local and regional BIPOC artists. And they did such an amazing job of bringing our artists together to do this. And I love this because it gave us an opportunity to focus on this group of people who historically we're not talking about. So we want to give them their due now because so many members of the BIPOC community are making amazing work that deserves to be seen and honored. But it was also great because it gave our local artists the chance to network with regional artists. And this helped us get some of these artists into another large art fair up in Indianapolis called the Butter Art Fair that focuses on art by Black folks. And it's been an amazing experience. And then I'm going to close by just showing you a video of like, it's truly a transformation. So this is One Drop literally transforming what was a gross, dusty, barely any light, no AC storefront into this amazing exhibition. So there we go. You find me with a long car ride, I believe that I can fly. Yeah, my future looking so, so bright. I got diamonds in my eyes. You can find me with a long car ride, I believe that I can fly. Yeah, my future looking so, so bright. I got diamonds in my eyes. So, okay. And then, so thanks for that. And so again, we've got some deals in the works that I'm not allowed to talk about publicly yet to get artists super duper affordable space. Contract's not signed yet, but look for more later this summer about that. And as far as what you can do to get involved, what I always say to people is just show up. Come to an event. Bring a friend who, like my dad when I was 16, like was not convinced by the art. Bring somebody who needs to be indoctrinated. You know, and then when you're at these places, look around and ask yourself who's not here, who should be here, and what can I do to make sure they're here and represented. And also call your council. Like you all said in the beginning, we need more people. I would love more staff so we can do more of this work. So anyway, that's all I got. Thank you so much for listening tonight.
Oh, thank you so much, Holly. If people will hold their questions at the end, we will open questions so that all of our guests can answer them. Next, I would like to introduce you to Deborah Meter, co-president of the Persisterhood Network. Thank you, Deborah, for coming. I will share your links in the chat.
Okay. I don't have a whole lot of links. I just have the pictures. So if Mandy, if you could show the logo. Thank you. Okay. Yes. So my name is Deborah Meter, and I'm here tonight representing the Persisterhood Workshop. And we're a completely volunteer-driven 501c3, and our mission is to smash the patriarchy one handmade piece at a time. I don't really say that tongue-in-cheek, to be honest with you, but That's what we're doing. And we do this through what they call craftivism, using craft projects to support social causes. So, it's a process of collective empowerment and action, as well as creative expression. Our model is really pretty simple. We make to sell to give. We hold workshops of about 6 to 8 people throughout the year, and volunteers get together and we make handcrafted items that we sell at local market venues. 100% of our sales are donated to a local nonprofit, and you spoke of all options, and they are our 2014 campaign fundraising community cause. So yes, go all options. A little bit of a twist for us, I think, is that, we aren't necessarily out there marching and doing direct service, although many of us in this organization have and do and will. But what we are doing, we're facilitating the work of community organizations that promote social justice through their own programming and their activism. And I think a good example of that would be Moms Demand Action. We raised funds for them. I think it was back in 2018, and they use those dollars, the $3,000 that we raised for them, for outreach activities, to help them outreach, to pay the cost associated with tabling and for brochures and recruiting members. So that was, we felt pretty good about being able to do that for them. Let's see, the first photo, number 1. Yeah, okay. Just a little bit about activism and arts and crafts. The photo on the left is by activist and street artist Banksy. That's a pseudonym, and we don't really know who he is. And I'm not suggesting he's a craftivist necessarily, but I am suggesting that his work calls attention to social injustice and the need to act. And this is called The Balloon Girl. It used to say there is always hope, but these are stencils that he puts up at any given moment in any given place. And this was in London. Apparently the council erased that part of the stencil. But, the debate has always been, is that little girl losing her balloon? Is it flying away? Or is she about to grab it and recapture it or capture it? Is this loss, or is this hope and opportunity here? So, and this was, I think, 2002 in London. I don't know what was going on then, but I do know that in 2014, he made another version of this, and the little girl was wearing a headscarf, and he was supporting the victims of the Syria's civil war. So it's a little background on that. The photo on the right is certainly a craftivist project. It's a felted ornament. And I think it's a great example of craftivism. It was done by one of our volunteers, Deirdre Sheets. Like the little girl with a balloon, when I look at this, I'm always moved. When I first saw it, when I see pictures of it, it's like, it is so sweet. But the underlying message is of such great consequence. It's very serious. And I can almost hear her saying, vote. That, I think that she looks at this as being a hope and opportunity. At least I hope she does. But so there's an example of the things we do. We sold this ornament for $20, and we sold a lot of them. And I think that was a fundraiser for Moms Demand. So can you give me photo number 2? Okay, so the Persisterhood was born out of the frustration surrounding the 2016 election. It continues today, both the frustration and the Persisterhood. But the workshops and the markets, the new friendships and the camaraderie that develops go a long way to reducing the anxiety that a lot of us feel about what's happening in the world then and now, because we're able to do something, our small part, if you will. At the risk of sounding shallow, it's really just a lot of fun. It's creative, it's a great distraction, and when you walk away, you just kind of feel better. So that's what we do. So as far as the history, I met my co-founder, Leanne Ellis, at the first Monroe County Now meeting, actually in January 2017. I was there as a volunteer trying to recruit clinic escorts for Planned Parenthood. She approached me. She's an artist herself. She talked about, ways in which artists could support Planned Parenthood. And, we all wanted to do something then, we still do, but it was especially desperate at that time, I think. But that idea sort of morphed over the months, and we thought, let's invite folks from the community with or without arts and crafts experience, and invite them into a kind of a workshop format where, under direction, we're producing work, arts and crafts, either in part or in whole, at whole. And we decided to do it. She made some ceramic ornaments, as you can see here. We invited folks to come and paint them. It's very simple. And it worked. It just kind of snowballed from there. The workshops turned out to be something that people seemed to want to do and enjoy. They found it therapeutic. That was the feedback we'd get. And word spread. So we have a community of people who really care a lot about social justice, and they just want to support people providing community and social services. So it's more than just a social or creative connection. It's really we feel good, and we feel like on a grassroots level we are definitely supporting the nonprofit community in Bloomington and Monroe County. So let's see. Yes, so there you see, yes, it was all about pussy hats. Those have come and gone, but they were a big hit at this time. And we sold these at the handmade market and made about $1,400 for Planned Parenthood. So that was good. And then you can see another, around the same period, we had volunteers make these fist wine stoppers, and it was a series of a couple of workshops where they made them first, and then they were fired and came back and painted them. So, and photo number 4. Whoops, I got the wrong one. Try the next photo. There we go. Okay. Yes, I missed something. I just want to talk briefly a little bit about our volunteers and our funding. There you go. We have about 30 or 35 active volunteers, mailing list of about 100. We do have and very much embrace all ages and all genders, but truth be told, we tend to be women on the wise end of the lifespan. So we're trying very desperately to change that. But right now we have a board of 7, and we have an advisory board that chooses our annual community cause. Right there you see one of our members, our volunteers, I should say, Linda, with her granddaughter at the Bloomington Creative Glass Center. And then this is a workshop that had just finished, and we just took a picture. So there we are. As far as expenses, we have very little overhead for the most part, just because we kind of have to keep it that way. We have a nifty little studio in my basement, so there's no rent associated with that. No one's getting paid, no salaries. We need business cards, we need ink for the printer, we need software license, market displays, website fees, that kind of thing. But more than anything, we need craft materials. So we've been able to, in the last 3 or 4 years, we've been able to defray the cost, the craft materials in particular, through an anonymous donor at the Community Foundation. And we know that this is, we don't know if that will continue or not. So we recognize, and we're trying to put in place, we'd like to grow our donor base from 1 to many more than that. So that is another area that we're definitely need help. Okay. And then photo 5, just some more examples of what we do. I love this. We were actually fundraising for Women Writing for a Change. and New Leaf, New Life, I believe. Anyway, this is our Maha towels, Make America Healthy Again. And then the photo 6. Oh, our little rockers. This was we raised money for Girls Rock Bloomington. These little figures are, they're about 4 or 5 inches tall. They're really adorable. And that was just part of our Girls Rock campaign. And the next picture is, yeah, okay. Our mugs are mugs that, I don't know if you can read that very well, maybe zoom in a little bit. This is after a workshop last fall, and they all have their little Regulate Dick, Not Jane mugs, and those sell very well. We have new ones this year. Anticipating the election, I am woman, watch me vote. And I sure hope that happens. Okay. Photo 7A. Next one. There we go. Ooh, wait a second. This is a little, okay, yeah, our venues and our collaborations. Our big venue is the Bloomington Handmade Market, and we started that in 2018. They invited us, and they then named us the next year as their philanthropic maker, and they provide a booth for us, and we get to take advantage of some seriously busy foot traffic happening there, and we do make a lot of money. I know for Moms Demand Action, the first year out, we made in one day, a 10 to 4, $3,000. So that was pretty exciting for us. So we're always at their markets, both the summer and the holiday market, but we've also done some pop-ups and want to continue to do that. We've been several times. Mirth Market on the Square has hosted us, and we've been at Gather as well on the Square. We were at City Hall last August for the Women's Equality Day market, and we're excited that Goods for Cooks has invited us to set up a market there Saturday, June 22nd. And then also we have been doing some collaborations with the community, and we have worked with a Bloomington Creative Glass Center and the Pottery House Studio. We've held workshops there, some of them even as 3-part workshops, pretty serious ones. And we are able to do that because they give us a deep discount. And for that, we are very grateful. So let's see, picture number 8. Just some fun pictures here. Yeah. We're asked how our work addresses NOW's core issues. And I think we're doing a pretty good job of, a broad range of social justice initiatives supporting them. And our website will list all of the nonprofits that we've raised money for. For example, the Dignity Project, we help fund personal hygiene products for the unhoused with a focus on the LGBTQ plus unhoused youth. So that was pretty rewarding. We also, Girls Rock, they support girls, trans, and non-binary youth. Again, another wonderful organization. And, I think we touched on reproductive justice many times, anything from abortion funding to recently, Tandem was our 2002-3 Tandem Birth Center and Postpartum House, and our $7,000 that we raised for them went into providing in-home doula services. So, and finally, racial justice, I think with New Leaf, New Life's programming, from the transition from incarceration to community, we were able to help them do that work. And again, Moms Demand Action, their activism surrounding common sense gun law. So I think we're doing a pretty good job that way. Let's see, photo 9. Oh my God, the goddesses. These are actually not workshop. They're done by one of our volunteers, Nancy Bradley, and I really had fun with these. We did have them on display at the Handmade Market so that people could see that you could put pencils in there, or candy, or a plant, or a condom. So they're beautiful, and we sell them a lot. I guess in summary, we love what we're doing. At times, it's a lot of work. The physical work associated with setting up and breaking down a market is hard on we wise women, but it's so rewarding. It's because it's so meaningful, and we're definitely grassroots. You mean our average donation is anywhere from $5,000 to obviously $7,000 last year. So we want to grow and continue this work. I think if you think back to the girl with a red balloon and the little girl who's there's always vote. I think that the Persisterhood is going to capture that balloon because I think we're going to vote for hope and opportunity over despair and inaction. So I hope we're around for a while, that you will check us out at markets. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, we're going to go to Women Writing for a Change, and we have their Assistant Creative Director and Facilitator, Laura Sutomer. Did I say that correctly?
No, but I don't think you're required to. It doesn't make any sense. It's Lacertmer.
All right. Thank you so much. I will put their website in the chat.
Thanks. And if I can be co-host, I've got some slides to share as well. And I just want to thank Mary Beth O'Brien, who's here. She's our creative director, and Kim Evans as well. And as Heather said, she was in a class earlier and lots of connections here. Holly, thank you for the support. So we are in good company. Let me pull up my, can you all see that?
Yes.
Okay, well, yes, I'm Laura with Women Writing for a Change, and I wanted to start my time the way we start our writing circles. So I'm going to light a candle, and I like to say, bring the spark of inspiration literally into our space tonight. And then just invite everybody to take a breath or two. A lot has been said, and we'll just have a moment of silence. Facilitation is the commitment to the power of the collective. We hold space for humans to find each other, clearing the debris between them so that they can access the forward motion of life, the flowing river of change, the rich ecosystem of difference. And that's a quote from Adrienne Marie Brown's book, Holding Change. And I have this fast write from Wade Jackson, who's a writer who writes with us every Tuesday morning in the jail. He shared his notebook with me yesterday and said I could share his writing out with the public. So he writes, "Upon awakening, I felt astonished. I saw the same surroundings, but in a new light. Although I knew I should respect myself or love my neighbor, but upon awakening, that respect and love grew a different meaning, a wider and deeper depth. Things like forgiveness and compassion became better understood and moved into my forefront. I then wondered, why did no one teach me these things in more depth when I was younger? Why is it now that I have some clarity? Suppose that's just the way it had to be for me, so I accept it, and I'm thankful that it's now and not never. And I'll utilize this new canvas and fill it full of brightness." Wade Jackson. I also, sorry, I forgot to call in Karen, another board member who's with us tonight. Karen, sorry. Glad you could be here. So Women Writing for a Change Bloomington comes out of an organization that Mary Pierce Brosmer started in Cincinnati. So I just want to do a very brief shout out to sort of the lineage that brought us here to where we are today. So she started it in 1991. She had been an English teacher and became sort of disgruntled with that work and that system and started circling women to help actually find their voice be empowered to speak their truth and tell their stories in a world where often women's words are silenced. Beth Lodge Regal, who founded Women Writing Bloomington in 2004, trained with Mary Pierce Brosmer and felt called to start the organization here. And she was, since 2004, she just retired in 2021, I believe. And so she had a long time putting down the roots of a really incredible organization dedicated to change through writing communities. And Mary Beth O'Brien, who's now our creative director, took this role in 2021, but has been involved with women writing since 2015. And we're grateful for her leadership at the helm now. Just a moment, I want to make sure I can see my notes. Okay, so I put up here our values. We have these on our website. There's a lot of words there and they're all important. But what I want to point out is that these values kind of get distilled in our writing circle into 4 agreements that we share at the beginning of every writing circle, whether it's in the jail or at Stonebelt or in the elementary schools. And those agreements are that in our circles, they are confidential spaces so that vulnerable stories can be shared, knowing that they won't be spread without permission. And we also have an agreement of presuming goodwill of each other, which means that we come together in an affirmative, encouraging, collaborative space. We assume each person is there doing the best they can in the moment, and we aim to support each other. And then, of course, the twin values of deep listening and reading aloud. So in order to read aloud, you have to know you'll be listened to. You have to also know that you can pass when it's your turn to read your writing and you don't want to. That's always okay. So our values come out at the forefront in every one of our circles. Okay, I love this little circular demonstration of kind of all the many programs that Women Writing puts on. We have our outreach programs, which is what I often facilitate and sort of plan. We have semester circles, which are both virtual and in-person, 13-week-long classes. We have a sort of Jungian image-based soul thing called soul collage that gets at both like visual art and writing together, and it's really beautiful. We have writing retreats, we have summer camps, and we have something called the Conscious Feminine Leadership Training, which is what I want to call our attention to, because the foundation of Women Writing for a Change is really pretty revolutionary, and it's very political. We are trying to create spaces that empower the conscious feminine. So in a very masculine-oriented, hierarchical, patriarchal society, racist society, sexist society, we are trying to create spaces where people's intuition, emotion, spirituality, connection, and creativity can come to the forefront and be nurtured and be valued. So, yeah, we're there to collaborate and to bring forth the best in each other. And I feel like in our circles in the jail, which I want to show you some pictures of, it's particularly powerful in those spaces that are sort of hyper masculine, hyper controlled. The men that come into our circles, the women that come into our circles at the jail, I'll have some quotes from them later, but they find it to be really therapeutic and will verbalize things about how therapeutic it is to connect, to actually unmask and show themselves to one another, and then across the table resonate with something another writer has said about the struggle they're going through. So again and again, every week, we have a powerful encounter through the written word, through the word read aloud at the Monroe County Jail. We also do circles out in the world. At the academy, we've done circles with 2nd and 3rd graders over at Marlin Elementary. Again, every space is different. Those elementary school circles are kind of like bouncing off the walls a little bit. But when it's time to write for 10 minutes, it's quiet. Everybody's in their story. And when they read their stories, we might get some stories about bananas, you know, and astronauts and things like that. And it is all wonderful. We also do circles at Stone Belt. And here we have one of our writers, Julia, and another, Jeff, who participate every single week. Mary Beth held a circle there this morning that had 20 participants. And it is it's a big room and it's a big space. And all of the writers, no matter of their ability to read their own words or to write, have the stone and have a turn to speak, have a turn to share. And a real solid community has been built over the years. I think we've been there since 2016, holding biweekly writing circles with folks at Stone Belt. And here's some quotes from the folks and some folks we have worked with who've come to our writing circles at the jail. They say, "This work is highly amazing because it's changed people's lives for the better. Creative writing helps with our self-reflection and self-growth. In Writing Circle, we're able to relieve pent-up stress, thoughts, worries, and anxieties. Creative writing at the jail is my centering and grounding as I change my life. I find this class is growing on me, and more writing is soul food." Thank you, Michael Gillespie. And Writing Circle is a chance to open your mind to your inner greatness. That was Aaron. And on a personal note, I meant to say earlier, I came to women writing in 2010. It was January of 2010. I had finished a grad school program in 2009, and I was sort of like detoxing from academic writing. I had been since first grade when I learned to write and learned to read. I think I always knew that I was a writer, but I hadn't really honored the creative writer in myself because I'd been so focused on doing well at school papers. And so when I finished that program and I Googled creative writing, Bloomington or something, women writing came up, and I took my first circle. And it was transformative to have an audience every week who wanted to hear what was next in my story, and who helped me build the courage to call myself a writer and to hone that craft sort of again and again and again, to be heard really deeply, so that I could actually hear myself or hear where the story wanted to go. And so it's been a huge honor to now be on this side of the organization and be able to facilitate and create these sacred spaces for people to bring their authentic selves into community with others, and to find that courage to share their words, to share their craft, and just explore who they want to be in this world. So you, of course, are all welcome to join us. We have a lot of programs. We have sort of two categories. We call them our in-house programs and our outreach programs. Like I said, we have a really amazing summer camp. I've facilitated, I think, the last 4 or 5 years, but I'm not facilitating this year. But we have 2 very good facilitators, and one of our academy writers is joining as a sort of co-facilitator. So that's summer camp in June, if you know of any girls or non-binary youth. Which reminds me that I didn't say, we started as an all-women circle in 1991 with Mary Pierce Brosmer. And here in Bloomington, for many years now, we have been expanding to bring the conscious feminine to people of all genders, because our world, every single person, whatever their gender is, whatever their race is, whatever their age is, can benefit from these kinds of nurturing spaces. And so we are learning how to share that more widely. So we have classes for women and non-binary adults, and then we have classes for all genders. And our outreach circles are typically all gender, except for in the jail. Like I said, we have soul collage. We have virtual studios, which are sort of like dipping your feet into a loosely facilitated space for doing your own writing. We have retreats, we have some free samplers, and we have seasonal circles. So there's a lot of offerings, new ones all the time. We're just, 3 facilitators are putting together a writing retreat in Iona, Scotland. Sometimes they put together ones in Ghost Ranch out in New Mexico. And then our outreach circles, I just wanted to, if you can even read that tiny writing, these are some of the places that we've been over the last 2 or 3 years, that people reach out to us and say, hey, can you come to the library and do a series of writing circles? IU service learning class came at the end of their semester, and we helped them reflect on what that process was like. And it was amazing to see these students when they got split up into pair shares, like exchange numbers. They had this whole semester, and then finally they come together in this form in which they're encountering each other one-on-one. And they're like, oh, hey, I like you too, like, let's hang out. So just the power of a well-facilitated group goes a long, long way. But that was a really fun one. We've done monthly circles with Courage to Change, where the women come to our space, and we have snacks, and we have a prepared environment for them to come relax into. We've done some fun circles at Middleway House, where babies have been in attendance, little children eating chocolate, and stories and tears being shared. So lots and lots of circles and lots of stories. And if you have any ideas for where you'd like to see women writing, including like at your work, staff retreats, just anywhere, reach out to me. My email address is right there. And our website has all of our information about different classes. So thank you all. Thank you for having me here today. And it's an honor to be in such good company.
Thank you very much, Laura. And now I want to introduce you all to visual artists. And I looked at what you have available online, and I am incredibly impressed, Caleb. This is Caleb Poer, who was mentioned by Holly Warren because he's one of their, is it up and coming artists? Emerging artists, right? So thank you for coming, Caleb. We're anxious to hear what you do and to learn more about it. And I will share the links you gave me in the chat.
Great. Thank you so much for the introduction, and thank you all for having me. I'm excited to talk to y'all. So I'll share a bit about how I think my work reflects and supports my values and issues that aren't just central to me, but I'm sure are central to a lot of y'all as well. I've been an artist my whole life. I used to have a really hard time expressing myself and expressing my emotions, and so art enabled me to do that in a communicative way. But it wasn't always positive. Like, I remember my 3rd grade teacher getting mad because she found me drawing a picture of her as a spider. But the fact that she could recognize that it was her made me realize I had like a little bit of talent. So decided to keep pursuing that a bit. I'm gonna go ahead and screen share. So what I want to talk about is a series that I did that's called Flowerhead. And so visibility is something that is critical for the queer community. And in this series, I created figures of myself where my identity as a queer person is natural. And so that to me is represented through the flowers. And the flowers are the head of the piece because I don't consider my identity an adornment, but rather an integral part of who I am. And it's also like an acknowledgement of my right to flourish and queer people's right to flourish. So obviously in recent years, we've witnessed a ton of anti-LGBTQ legislation across the country. Specifically laws targeting transgender people have have run rampant, and our community's visibility and rights are just under assault. I hate that we're still in a place where visibility and tolerance still feels like a goal, but that's just, the reality of what it is. And one of the things that is, you know, dug itself into the core is, for me personally, is a hunger for freedom. And I think that that word has been co-opted by conservatives, even though they've made it clear that they want the exact opposite.
Caleb, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we are just seeing a big white square that you're sharing with us.
Let's see. Are you seeing it now?
No, it's still looking like a screen. This is
Okay,
technology, folks.
no, we have Zoom.
Ah, there we go.
Okay, what do we
Thank
got?
you.
Okay, cool. So yeah, those are my flowerhead pieces. Hopefully that adds some context to what I was talking about. But yeah, the flowers representing my queer identity, and they're all figures of myself in these different forms. Just to continue with what I was saying, like the conservative takeover of the Supreme Court is, a glaring representation of how our rights are literally getting taken away and cut down or eliminated. And I feel like we've now become stun locked in this never ending cycle of defensive action and defensive voting. It seems like now we're told not to, you're told like vote for me, not for what I will do for you, but vote against what they are going to do to you. And that sucks. Um, that's not very hopeful. And I've really resonated with the messages of hope that y'all have shared and what Deborah shared. I think it's a common theme that people really need right now. And, I feel like if in 20 years, if we're still voting to protect basic human rights, to protect democracy, then I will personally feel like that's a failure. What I've come to realize for me is that we have to grab the wheel. I mean, like at every single level. Um, we just have to be willing to leverage our power wherever we have it and try to make transformative new actions. I want I would love if like Bloomington could be at the cutting edge of real policy proposals and new ideas. We live in, the most powerful, richest nation of all time, but we still have people that struggle with food insecurity, struggle with poverty, and and struggle with debt. And so I know that we need systematic changes in this country, but I also believe in the power of small actions and small individual actions. Like, in the recent primaries, I guess not the recent, but the one before that, one of the city council seats was decided by like 39 votes. And so every little thing counts. So I love that y'all are doing that. Uh, y'all got that money to expand the vote. But one thing that I learned was the Washington Post did an article about all those like book bannings that are happening across the country. And, they went over like 1,000 of them. And 60% of them came from 11 people. And so it's just like very staggering to realize that they had like such a huge impact. But I think that we can do the same thing in the opposite direction. And so it's like a butterfly effect. And that's kind of what I try to do with my art is to have the platform to be able to put these ideas on display, and things like what you're doing now allow me to come in and share some of my message. It's really important. And so for y'all, whether it's speaking up at a meeting or supporting inclusive policies, or simply just engaging with arts, with LGBT artists, with Black artists, with women. Every action counts. And so, yeah, one of the things that Holly said that I also think is really important is to just be there, like attending local art exhibitions and performances and sharing those within your network goes like a really long way, and it's really helpful. Um, Otherwise, yeah, just staying engaged and um, with artists everywhere that you can is really helpful too. So that's all I got for y'all, but thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you to everyone who came tonight. I want to open up the Zoom now. If anyone has any questions for any of the artists or groups who came here, just raise your hand and ask them.
Caleb, do you have any exhibitions up now?
Yeah, you can see some of my work at Soma on Eagleson and Third, and I will be doing an exhibition at the Eiffel building in August. So if you keep your eye out for that.
Thanks.
Natalia?
It's not really a question, but it more we all kind of on the exec board like are all hands on deck. But please feel free if there's anything we can amplify in either our newsletter or our social media. I just use Instagram right now to follow everyone that presented. And we'll start resharing and putting in our stories and everything. But please don't ever just hesitate, right, to either ask us, please promote this. I see that there's, the grant flyer for the city is up, and Deborah, I saw that you just posted about the grant. We're happy to retweet or share all that this week. So, yeah, I just wanted to throw a shout out for that and just thank you for everyone's work. It's just incredible, inspiring. So, thank you.
Anyone else have a question or a comment?
I just say similarly, if any organization or group or artist is interested in having a sort of held space, facilitated space for planning, connection, whatever, our writing circles are super adaptive. And as the outreach person, I'm always, that's the growing edge of facilitation is taking it into new arenas. So just reach out if that sounds like something that would be useful to you all. Thank you again for having us.
Well, thank you everyone for coming tonight, and you are always welcome back at our meeting. And of course, I'm going to be blunt about this. We would love to have you all join MCNOW. That's what we call ourselves. So we're not going to give you hamburgers like McDonald's, but we'd love to have you join us. And I'll repeat what Natalia said. We would love to amplify what you do. And I would ask that you also amplify what we do. That would be lovely and wonderful. And I don't want to keep you all any longer than we have to. I know that Kaya, you had something you wanted to share with us.
Yeah, hi. I loved hearing those speeches. Those were great. And like listening to all your art and seeing it all, that was great. So I have something a little bit different. I'm not an artist, but so I was invited here by Dr. Shruti Rana. I'm not sure if you know her, but so I interned this summer with iAngel, their women's rights organization based in California. And we did a project to write a book basically to educate youth about their reproductive rights and just the state of the law in their state that they're in. So it's based in California, like I said. So I basically converted this book to Indiana law just to like educate teens, and it's completely bipartisan. Like it's not political at all. It's just like a fact book, just to tell you about your reproductive rights. So it's not just about like abortion. It's also about like birth control and intimate partner violence and like just things like that that teens should be aware of that are not taught in school. So yeah, I just wanted to like spread the word about that. If anyone's interested in getting involved with that, definitely let me know. But yeah, I love coming to this meeting. So thank you.
All right. Thank you. Reach out to us. I think I replied back with presidential email. Thank you everyone for coming tonight. Thank you so much. We hope to see you in the future, and have a good rest of your night and a good weekend, a long weekend for Memorial Weekend. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks so much, everyone.
Bye
Thank
now.
you.
All right. Bye-bye.